Okay, so this is a video about how to get onto a motorway using the slip road in the safest possible way. Now, there's so much to talk about, but I'm going to try my best to get my words out. I've slowed this video down as much as possible so I can talk as much as possible. Have a look at the sign on the left. We're on the minor road. We do not have priority to go onto the carriageway. However, a lot of the time, people on the carriageway are going to try and be useful from getting out of the left lane and going into the middle lane to let you go on, but this cannot be guaranteed, so we need to be extremely careful. You may even have slower moving vehicles like heavy trucks and lorries and vehicles like caravans who have a slower speed limit than you, who may not be able to get out of the way. Now, this slip road has had an overtaking lane, so we already would have needed to be extremely careful of our mirrors and people overtaking us here already on the slip road to be funneled down to single file traffic to come up to the motorway carriageway. Now, the line on the right with the chevrons is a must not enter unless there's an emergency, so we're not allowed to cross onto the carriageway yet. We have to stay in single file traffic here. Now, at this point, we are allowed to signal to alert the people that we want to go onto the carriageway, so we're going to get that done. So it would be mirrors and signal now. We would be signalling right as a further warning to the people on the carriageway that we want to go on. And it just alerts them because the human eye is attracted to movement and colour, so they'll be able to see that. Now, I know there's people in front of us on this occasion, but it is vitally important that you use this slip road to pick up speed in the safest way that you can. You do not want to be entering this area in a slow way. It is dangerous. We need to be picking up our speed, if it's safe to do so, to at least match the slowest moving vehicle in the left lane. Very important. So, mirrors to the right, signal is on to the right already. We're looking for a gap in the traffic. We're using our mirrors. We're using our interior mirror as well. That's a true image of what's behind you because it's a flat glass image. We double check our blind spot to the right. And if there's a gap, we're going to very gently, without steering like in big quantities, just a little turn of the wheel to be able to glide onto the carriageway. We don't want to be doing it quickly because at speed, the steering will be very sensitive. So we just want to hold it slightly to the right to glide in to the right, okay? Now, in this particular example, as you've been able to watch, my partner has been able to enter this carriageway quite early, to be honest, because it's not very busy. But we are allowed to stay in the slip road for way longer if we needed to, okay? Sometimes I teach my students, if they need to go right up to the pinnacle point of the slip road. The only problem with that, it is vitally important that we're going fast enough so the people behind are not in a position to need to overtake us. That is incredibly important. We need to pick up our speed so we're making progress and people don't need to overtake us. That is dangerous. Okay, so I managed to get in quite a lot on that first video, but it's still traveling too fast for my mouth. I can't speak any faster, so I'm playing it again. Now let's just talk about this. So the overtaking lane on this part of this slip road is coming to an end. So we already have to be careful of the mirrors and let those people overtake us or stay behind us or whatever they're doing. So we're in this single file traffic. We've been organised into single file traffic, like I said before. Now, I mentioned briefly that the interior mirror is flat. Now, that is really important because that's your friend in this case, because it's going to show you the distance and the speed of the people behind truthfully. The right mirror distorts the image because it's a convex glass. It makes things look further away. So to begin with, really, your interior mirror is it's going to give you a better understanding of what's going on behind you because it's the truth. That is how far away things really are. That is what their position is. That is their speed. That is their distance. So use your interior mirror heavily to make sure that you understand which lane the cars are in behind you and how fast they're going. Interior mirror is your friend. Of course you're going to use the right mirror. Of course you're going to use the blind spot. Yeah, but the interior one is particularly good for understanding their position, distance and speed. So once you go down here, people may even on the carriageway give you a flash or some kind of communication. As long as you know it's for you, fair enough. Okay, you can take that, but please be careful. Make sure that any communication is for you and you understand the communication properly and they're not angry with you, that it's a communication for you to go on. Look for all of that. Notice the silver car in front. He entered before the green van. Because he did that, it's fine, right? But because the silver car entered through the slip road onto the first lane before the green van, the silver car has a high responsibility of not overtaking in the first lane, because that would be scary for the Yodel green van. He wouldn't be able to get in, right? Now the silver car's overtaking, and that's sensible. So I just wanted to show you that bit, because that's important, because if my learners stay in the slip road too long and there's too many people doing that, that can be dangerous. So if it's safe to enter the carriageway before the pinnacle of the slip road, fine. Get on there like we did. If you need more time, fine. Yeah, that's okay as well. But make sure that you're not slow. Make sure you're picking up that speed beautifully and making progress, so the people behind you don't want to overtake you and go past you, because then you're going to get yourself in a right pickle. All right, guys. So, let's move on. Hey guys, so the next thing that we need to talk about is your speed fluctuations if you need to get on the carriageway and it's a bit tricky. Now, in the video that you've been watching, we get onto the carriageway quite easily because it's quite quiet. So we were able to do mirrors, signal, blind spot, and to be honest, there wasn't a lot around. So we were able just to get on quite nicely. But obviously, it isn't always that easy. It may be a lot more busy. Yeah. So as you're going down the carriageway, I highly suggest that you bung that signal on. You need to alert the other drivers that you're coming on. Now, they also want you to get onto the carriageway safely. Yeah, because of course they are not interested in having any problems either. They're going to be trying to help as well. Okay. So it's not all your responsibility. I know it's their priority, but the people on the carriageway don't want to have an accident, okay? So as you're going down, just stay in your lane with your signal on and be aware of your mirrors, okay? Now, generally speaking, I would say that motorbikes with a top speed of 70 and cars with a top speed of 70, if there's flow of traffic, generally speaking, they do their best to get into the middle lane and develop space, or they're able to fluctuate their speed either by coming off their speed to allow you to go down the slip road in front of them, or sometimes they choose in their first lane, the left lane, to go faster so you can go behind them. Now that's pretty standard. But lorries and trucks, they tend not to change their speed. It doesn't really happen very often that they'll fluctuate their speed. They tend to just go, this is my speed, this is what I'm doing, and you in the slip road, you either go faster or slower to act around me. That's pretty standard, yeah? And that's good because you'll understand the truck's speed by looking at it and analysing it and noting it, okay? They don't tend to change stuff. They can sometimes change lanes for you, but it's more rare. If there's a truck in lane 1, they tend to just go, this is my speed. I'm going to stay steadfast and you can change your speed. Yeah, because it would be dangerous for a big truck like that to be fickle and changing his mind all over the place. Okay, so note the trucks and lorries and just look in the mirror, look in the interior mirror and go, okay, there's a truck in the left, or there's a bike in the left lane, or there's a car in the left lane. And if it's a truck or a big vehicle, then just think, right, I need to notice their speed so that I can act accordingly. And then you can fluctuate your speed to go faster down the slip road and go in front of them, or slightly back off so you can go behind them. All right. Now that obviously takes practice with a driving instructor. Okay, so we've managed to get safely onto the carriageway. We are in lane 1 on a 3-laned motorway, okay? But Even though we've just got onto the carriageway, we have immediately got more work to do. We're in lane 1. So there is a blue sign coming up on the left, and it tells us about another slip road that's entering on the left. Now, if you look at this, we can see that there's 3 lanes on the sign, but then on the slip road, we've got 2 lanes on the slip road coming in. Lane 1, the left lane of the slip road, becomes its own lane. That's cool. It's really good to notice that. Lane 2 on the slip road comes up and it needs to enter the motorway in lane 1. We are in lane 1. The green van in front of us is in lane 1. The slip road on the left, the overtaking part of the slip road, comes on to this carriageway. So, because we can see the black van, we're lucky enough to be able to have gone mirror signal blind spot, and we've been able to move over to help the little black van come onto the carriageway. That is much easier for that black van to come in behind the green Yodel van. Now that black van, you can see, he's next to that no overtaking line. Yeah, he's forbidden to go in there. So the black van can't come onto the carriageway yet. But when that black van gets to the dotted line section, he's going to be able to try and get in to where the Yodel van is in what used to be lane 1 of the motorway. So he's going to come down and safely enter, into the gap that's good for him with his own mirrors, signal, blind spot, and he will come in and keep safe distance from the green Yodel van. We are in the overtaking lane now as we go down, and after we've overtaken the Yodel van or any other vehicles, we have to make our way back to the left and all the way to the left. Now that first lane of the slip road, the very first one, the left one, will become its own lane on the motorway, which will make it a 4-lane motorway. How cool is that? So anybody who used the left lane of that particular slip road, it will just become its own lane. The people who use that one don't even have to go onto the carriageway with mirror signal blind spot. They need to be careful. They need to know their surroundings. But that little green car on the left that we can just see now, he's never had to actually physically get onto the motorway. The slip road became its own lane, which is cool. So that's why we need to be very aware of those signs, because our lane may not actually need to be entering with the whole mirror signal blind spot and get into the carriageway. Now, because we're in the overtaking lane, of course, we now need to make our way back to the left when it's safe to do so with our own mirror signal blind spot. And we need to start returning back to the left lane when we've overtaken all the vehicles and we drive on the left until we need to overtake the next thing. Okay guys, so I hope that the information in this video has been helpful. Now, I am aware of how much anxiety is attached to this particular subject, and I wanted to be as thorough as I can without being face to face with somebody and creating a video. I've tried my best to be thorough. But if you are one of those people who have phobia or anxiety or anxious feelings about this, I strongly recommend that you hire a driving instructor and start to bash these erroneous feelings out of your life. The motorway is statistically the safest place for you to drive. People say to me, I take the A roads instead. Statistically, the A roads are more dangerous than these roads. So I understand, because I've got a lot of experience, that this is an anxiety subject and an anxious subject and even a phobia subject. And I do feel so much for you, and I strongly recommend that you get a driving instructor to make you feel better and free up your life, because you can open up your life to new possibilities and new places, and you take your family places and take yourself places. It's a freeing thing to do. Now, I'm not for 1 minute trying to upsell here, but I am a qualified hypnotherapist and I'm not practicing at the moment. But over the years, I have helped people because of the merge of hypnotherapy and driving was extremely useful. I'm not practicing at the moment, so I can't offer that to you, but it has been a wonderful experience because I've been able to help extremely and full of anxiety people or anxious people or phobia held people about this, and they've been able to get in a car and they've been able to open up their life to that. It isn't something that I'm selling, I'm afraid, but I recommend that you get a driving instructor and that you make the steps to press forward to lessen the anxiety, because actually most of the time people go onto the motorway and when they're on, they're okay. And then it's just practice. I know hypnotherapists that I can put people in contact with if necessary, and it's not what I'm selling here. But there are ways of getting over this phobia, and your life can be free. I promise. Everything's going to be okay.